Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars TV and film in chronological order on the internet as they cease to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about Clone Wars Season 1, Episodes 17 and 18, Blue Shadow Virus, and Mystery of 1,000 Moons. Jack Ford, how the heck are you?
I'm doing pretty dang good today. Today's been a good day, and you know what? It's better now than I'm with my brother and with our special guest. Special guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am their cousin Cal. So
yet another cousin.
I'm excited to be here. Yeah. I guess long-time listener. I'm not really calling here, so I don't know. But yeah,
first-time guest. Yeah.
First-time guest. You know, that fits well. Perfect.
First of many. We got unlimited content. We got unlimited time to have Cal on the podcast. Let's do it.
Right. Well, yeah. Before we get further into the episode, Cal, do you want to introduce yourself and just talk about like what your deal is and what your kind of history with Star Wars is?
Oh boy, yeah. Well, so my deal. That's a big question. I don't know.
Summarize your entire existence for us, please.
We're asking a philosophy major to explain his existence. So
yeah, exactly. That's really dangerous. I'm reading a lot of Heidegger right now, so I could go into obscure German. That could be. But yeah,
in the original German too.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm doing French right now. German is a later issue. Okay. But no, yeah, I am currently a master's student in philosophy up in Pennsylvania. So I'm an hour ahead right now. It's so weird being in the future. But yeah.
I used to live in that time zone. Not fun.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I went to school right across the river from you.
Oh yeah, you did. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was it the other side of the river that was like poisoned with the train thing, or is that a different river?
That's further south.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I forget. There's so many rivers that get poisoned by trains these days. You know, it's hard to tell one from the other.
Track,
so
I guess.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I do a lot of philosophy stuff. I read books basically for a living. Well, not for a living. I don't get paid for that. So
for somebody else's living.
Yeah. For the exploited grad labor that I provide for free. But no, so that's the big thing. I used to be a martial artist and a karate instructor for a long time. Haven't really been doing that as much lately. Mostly my existence is that I read books and I watch Star Wars as it comes out. And lately I've been starting to run a Star Wars D&D campaign for my friends.
Ooh,
so
excellent. We
actually had a big session today. So it was very exciting. But no, yeah, I guess my history with Star Wars, I remember, when I was in elementary school, I remembered suddenly seeing a lot of like the other little boys like getting like Darth Vader masks and lightsabers to like play around with. And I'm a bit of a contrarian. I always thought like, what is this nonsense? This is just some fad or whatever. This is like, no. So I wanted no part of it. And then eventually my dad and I think my mom was a big driver of this too, but they were just like, I think it's time, you know, to induct them into this. So I think it was me and my brother. We both were introduced at the same time, and we watched episode 4, of course. And I still remember like sitting there in the living room, just like watching it. It's such a bizarre experience, you know. Actually, I had a big nostalgia moment of that when Return of the Jedi was back in theaters last May. I went and saw it, and it was just such a like throwback moment to when we first saw those movies. It was crazy, partially because like I was in a situation where I was forced to actually like sit still and watch every part of it, you know. That's so rare for me these days.
No, I get that.
Yeah. So that was, and then since then I was like just hooked on it. I was like huge into the Clone Wars for a long time. Actually, when me and my brother did our own complete watch through project, I kind of scared my brother a bit because as we were watching through the Clone Wars, I remembered every single episode. So it was like, wow. Yeah. I just have a crazy memory for that kind of thing. I'm really good with like narratives. That it's very easy to put together in one picture. But yeah. So a couple of years ago, like right around when the pandemic started, actually, it was just after. they finished the Clone Wars with season 7. Me and my brother decided that summer that we were going to watch through it all in chronological order. So we started with the Phantom Menace, and then after we finished it, we were like, let's rate it. And then we made a spreadsheet, and then we're like, well, how many like criteria can we rate this by? So we ended up having a total of 11 criteria. One is a separate enjoyment score, and then we had 10 criteria that like rated the quality of the episode.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up coming up with like a complex like Excel formula to like weigh the different categories, and we would add it all up and we'd get a final score and everything. So we went through all of Star Wars at that point. We updated with a couple of the Disney Plus shows, but like we did 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. I think that's where we stopped. That killed our drive a bit, I think. But yeah, so we we went through it pretty well.
Wow. So can I ask, what is there like a number 1 episode and
that was my question. Was top rated?
I think so. I think the question ends up boiling down to effectively what is like the top episode of the Clone Wars, because that's the one that had the highest heights. And it had to be those last few episodes in the last arc. You know, like it's just so masterful. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. I remember when the second to last one came out, Shattered. I watched it, like it came out on a Friday, and then the May 4th was the Monday, so that's when they were releasing the last one. And I watched that episode like 4 or 5 times that weekend. It was crazy. Like it was just going through my head constantly. It like captured me. So it was a beautiful episode. But yeah, it's got to be Victory and Death is the top one. It's at 97.336. And then Shattered, the one before that, is the second at 97.038. So they're really close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you should have made a podcast about this.
I know. I pressed Charlie for it a long time, and he's just like allergic to the idea. So,
well, thank you, because then we got to be able to do it.
Exactly. So, yeah, you can exploit our labor that we put into it. You know. Yeah.
I would not have felt comfortable doing a Star Wars podcast if you guys had like already done it. Like, oh, let's count Charlie's thing. But no, it's our thing now. Now y'all can. So
Star Wars belongs to us now.
I like to think of it as a really nice sign of grace from me and Charlie to allow y'all to have this opportunity.
Very considerate of you.
Well, thank you.
Well, excellent. All right. Well, before we get into what we've been up to in this past week, we do have a sponsor, because we do have bills to pay. Sam, I don't know if you were aware, but we do have bills. So many bills, unlimited bills. This week's episode of Unlimited Content is brought to you by the Naboo Department of Public Health. Visit your local pharmacy today to get your no-cost vaccine for the Blue Shadow virus.
Wow, very topical this week.
Yeah. I'm really glad that they're stepping up.
Naboo Department of Public Health.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, get vaccinated, everybody. This is not a commentary on real events at all. I'm just, just in general.
No. Yeah.
Star Wars is
and
not
the nice
political.
thing is that this applies including fictional viruses, so it doesn't matter what you believe if COVID is real or not. You still should
Yeah.
Anyway, Jack, what are you up to?
Let's see. What have I been up to? Well, Ahsoka, but we'll get to that in a bit. Let's see. The big thing is this past week, Starfield finally came out. Which it's been good. I am not very far into it, and it's also just like, I think it kind of has a slow start to it. I feel like, most of the time I've spent in Starfield so far has been just like going through the tutorial stuff and getting kind of the intro to the story, and I haven't like actually gotten a chance to really sink my teeth into the game very much so far, but I like it so far. There's just so many things to do in it, and I'm really excited to. I'm especially excited to get into the shipbuilding aspect of the game, because you can customize your own ships and upgrade them, and it's very cool. I want to live my Star-Lord fantasy, basically.
Nice. Very
excited about that.
Are they paying royalties to the gummy ship creators? It's really
yeah, because
the Buffum Gummy ship.
Yeah, because Kingdom Hearts was the first video game to come up with the idea of you building your own ship and flying it around.
Kingdom Hearts did have to pay royalties to Lego Racer.
It's a Lego Racer. I love that our points of reference are very specific and like it's like I like how Sam's
games,
concept,
like the dozen games that you and I played growing up.
Exactly. Yeah, like, Sam's conception of video game history is the things that we played, and that's it. So
that's like, all that matters.
I mean, what else could there really be? You know?
Yeah. If we're not aware of it, it doesn't exist. It's
Thanks,
as Jocasta Nu would say. So that's been really cool. Also, fun little thing is there's a robot friend named Vasco who you meet near the beginning of the game. He's like one of your companions. And he looks kind of like if the Curiosity rover had like legs and arms. You know, he's very like, you know, he's great and he's robot and he's fun, and you know how big a fan I am of friendly robots. So I love him. And one thing that they did in the game is they basically they recorded a bunch of different names as voice lines for this robot, for Vasco, so that like if you put in your character's name, if that's one of the names that they recorded, he'll like address you by name. So like just out of curiosity to see like what they had, I put in my name as Jack Ford for my character just to see, and he calls me Captain Jack. It's like, oh, that's nice. It's fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They did something similar for Fallout 4. There was another robot in Fallout 4 that they did the same thing for. He was a robot butler though, not a space robot, so it was different. But so really enjoying that. What little of it I've been able to play so far. Still playing Powerwash Simulator. That game never ends. I've played like 40 hours of that game, and it's still going, and I haven't gotten into any of like the bonus content yet. I'm just playing through the main campaign, and now the story is like evolving to there's like a volcano that's about to erupt, and I was called into the desert to like clean an RV, and then when I got there, it transformed into a UFO, and apparently it was a UFO in disguise, and there's aliens in the plot now, and like it's bonkers, and I love it so much.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't think Powerwash Simulator could get any better.
It keeps like I keep thinking, I'm probably getting near the end of the game, or I'm getting like to the final levels probably, but no, it just keeps going, and you keep like having to power wash more and more absurd and ridiculous things, like like a UFO, or like there was an ancient statue that like once you cleaned it like started shooting a laser out of its forehead, and like there's like alien and like deep history lore and stuff in this universe. It's incredible. So yeah, Powerwash Simulator again continued. I cannot wait to get back to you and tell you however this wacky story ends, and then I will probably end up buying the SpongeBob DLC because there's SpongeBob DLC. Also, they did just recently announce that there's going to be Back to the Future DLC. You can like clean the DeLorean and stuff. So this game is
in like the clock tower, and
probably yeah. I hope you get to clean Biff's car after it gets covered in
that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah. But yeah, the game never ends, and it's delightful, and I love it. And the last thing is, so yesterday I was like, I've got Baldur's Gate 3 to play, I've got Starfield to play, I've got these two gigantic RPGs to play that I'm not very far into either of them, but I know I'm going to love them, and I just spent a bunch of money on them. You know what I'm going to do though is I'm going to buy Dark Souls because it's on sale. I'm going to start playing Dark Souls. So that's what I did yesterday. I was like, oh, Dark Souls Remastered is on sale, and so I got it and downloaded it on my Steam Deck and started playing. Like I said, that's been on my list of games to play for a long while. I've played some of the other like Soulsborne games. Like I played the Demon Souls remake. I've played like 100 hours of Elden Ring and still not beaten it because that game is massive. And I have also played quite a bit of Bloodborne, but I need to get back into that. But I wanted I've been wanting to have like a Souls game on my Steam Deck that I can like play like at work or wherever during my downtime, because I feel like in my experience the Souls games, like obviously there are some moments where there's a lot of story and you need to like sit down and pay attention to it, but for the most part it's a lot of like just kind of exploring and fighting and grinding, and it's a very weirdly kind of chill experience, and I feel like it's been a good like kind of game for me to play while like doing like listening to something else, like a podcast or something. So I was craving that, and it was on sale for $20, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll do. I have a problem, Sam. It's an addiction. It's an issue.
I wasn't going to say it, but
don't worry. I know it. You didn't have to say it. I know it already in my heart. But yeah, so Dark Souls is a good game. I don't know if you knew that.
I've heard good things.
But yeah, that's really all I've been up to is those games and Ahsoka. So, Cal, what have you been up to in the last week? Any interesting adventures you've gone on? Any like shows or books or games or whatever that you've been interacting with?
Oh man, the books part of that is a dangerous question. Well, I had my first meeting with our department head to start planning out my next conference that I'm organizing. So the second annual Sterner Symposium. So I'm getting together this year. I'm putting together a team of people to do a lot of the work for me, because I was a fool last year and did it all myself. And why do that when I can practice my good middle management skills and delegate it? So I've been putting together a team, got a good friend kind of involved, which is nice. Getting the details. We're trying to like make a lot of big decisions about it in the next 2 weeks. Like we're trying to figure out the modality, so virtual, in-person, hybrid. Trying to figure out who our keynote speaker is going to be, and then also the topic. And all three of those are like interrelated, so that you can't like just make one decision. So it's really painful to try to do. And then we also have to try to get our call for abstracts out soon. We're gonna try to aim for a week from Wednesdays, our deadline for all that stuff. I don't know if we're gonna meet it, but we need some deadline, I think. So yeah, so there's that. Getting a lot of stuff for my applications ready for PhD. So we're starting our peer review groups, all the people that are applying, like giving feedback on all of our application materials. So that's fun. I have even more paperwork to deal with. And then, oh boy, I've just been doing a lot of reading. Like I'm taking 2 classes, one on Epicurean ethics, and then the other on an independent study on Heidegger. So it's going good. I just read a bunch of Cicero today, and it's very funny because he's not an Epicurean, he's a Stoic, and he just despises Epicurus. It's so much fun to read. I love it when there's some good malice in like philosophy. It's awesome, like, oh my gosh. And like there's some awesome like pettiness too. Like there was a trend in a lot of philosophy where like people would like directly respond to like books or like specific people in the title of things. So like there's 2 Islamic works. One is called On the Incoherence of Philosophers, and then a guy responded to that with the title On the Incoherence of the Incoherent. So it's just like it's like Marx and Engels, they wrote a book called Anti-Düring, and Düring was just a guy that didn't like. It's awesome. Like, I mean, we need that kind of thing back. We kind of had it a little bit with Foucault in like the 60s and 70s, where like if people like criticize like big philosophers, even if they were friends, he would just like never speak to them again. It's just like just absolutely willing to cut people off. It's I love the little bits of violence in the philosophical tradition that really remind you what it's all about.
I'm not in academia at all. I'm definitely that's not my area, but I do love hearing about like academic drama.
Oh yeah, it's great. It really humanizes us a lot more, although I will say, as someone who is like involved in academia, the lack of pettiness is usually not a criticism you will hear. It's usually a lot worse. I just want upfront pettiness, philosophical pettiness. But yeah, But no, so I've been doing a lot of that stuff. I've been prepping a lot for my Star Wars campaign. Today was like a really big plot heavy, important session. So I had to do a lot of work for it. It's kind of like in this Star Wars like AU thing, alternate universe. So I wrote like a 10-page lore doc as like background for this.
Awesome.
It's great. I'm loving it.
Does it take place in a particular era, or is it kind of its own thing?
Yeah, it actually takes place in 9 ABY, so it's post Return of the Jedi. It's kind of like a rethinking of like some of the sequel era stuff with a lot of Legends stuff thrown in. So it's basically like the premise is like, do you guys know about the Yuzhong Vong?
I've heard of that, but I don't remember what it is. I've heard that phrase before. I know.
The Yuzhong Vong are a species from outside of the galaxy that basically invaded in Legends like 20-ish years after Episode 6. And it was like a devastating war. It was in a 19-book-long series, basically called The New Jedi Order. Yeah, I read it over the course of last year, and it's so good. It's like the peak of Star Wars EU. It's awesome. But it's just a brutal, devastating war, and it's like they're so interesting. Like the Yuzhong Vong, so they have like a religious like adherence or like reverence for pain. So they'll like ritualistically scar themselves, and like they'll also replace certain body parts with like other living organisms that let them do certain things. And then they also hate all technology. They don't like any machines, so they use like genetically engineered living organisms instead. So all of their ships are organic. It's like it's really cool.
That's like that's some like H.R. Geiger body horror type stuff. That's so interesting.
Yeah. It's very much like a product of like the early 2000s. It has that kind of like edginess to it, but it's really good. So, and then also they can't
fly around in like Purgil and stuff, or like
no, they have these, oh, what are they called? They have these special, they're Dovin basils. They're special like organisms that can basically manipulate gravity and create like mini black holes that propel them around. So, yeah. And it's not like they use like one, like they don't like use like one big organism that they like ride around in for their ships. They have like, it's a big symbiotic kind of network of things that all work together. So it's kind of machine-like. Yeah, it's so cool. And they also can't be felt in the Force. They're like they're just totally devoid of it. Yeah. So it poses some really interesting problems and ethical dilemmas for the Jedi. But I would highly recommend you get into it. I convinced a friend lately to like read through some of the prereqs to get to it. It's awesome. But my premise is basically like I'm kind of picking up from like Thrawn in Rebels kind of being cast off into the unknown regions, or so we thought at least until recently. And basically like, okay, what if he started to see the signs of the Yuzhong Vong invasion then? And he returns to the Empire around the same time that the EU Thrawn trilogy takes place. Except now he's trying to like pull everything together in order to stop this like invasion that in the EU he was kind of like preparing for a while. So I because like Thrawn is like a big player, I get to do some fun like GM stuff where I can basically like treat one of the characters as omniscient. So it's awesome. I can like manipulate things like so heavily. It's great. So that my friends started to see some of like the behind the scenes lore of like all of the ways that they had already been manipulated getting up to where they're at now, meeting Thrawn, just to like see all. There's so I'm really playing around with like withholding information, just throwing things out that they just have no idea like how it could be done. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so they just found out like actually I didn't even explain another big thing about it, which is that like basically instead of doing like kind of the weird thing in the sequels where like after like the Emperor dies, the Empire like intentionally destroys itself, I have it just kind of like traditional war like it was in the EU where it still kind of peters out. but then eventually Coruscant is captured, and then instead of it just kind of like continuing on for like a decade or two, I just have the Empire suddenly withdraw from like most of the galaxy, just up towards like the north, and then just like cut off all the hyperspace lanes up there, communications blackout, and withdraw all of their military up there and just fortify things. So now it's like they have no idea what's going on in this whole part of the galaxy. So there's another layer of like unknown stuff, and they are trying to infiltrate to figure out what's going on.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying messing with my friends. It's great. I love the power of it, you know.
That's really cool. I like to hear like a story like that. It like makes me wonder, like, if I heard that like the Empire is just off to one sector of the galaxy, and they've just like secluded themselves and just like created this like iron curtain around themselves. Like, what are they afraid of? Like, what is out there that the Empire is running away from?
Yeah.
So that's freaky. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I tried to just
premise.
like come up with the premise that will just unsettle my characters the most.
I'm unsettled hearing it, but I'm also very excited. This is super cool.
No, it's great. But they just found out about like the Vong and everything, and I had Thrawn basically, like, he's in charge of the Empire now. He took basically like in the Unknown Regions. The reason why he left there is that the Chiss basically fell apart from the Vong. So he brought a bunch of them with him, and they actually like combined their military structures together. They're now the Imperial Expansionary Defense Force instead of just the Empire. And now he just offered the New Republic peace and an alliance basically against the Vong. So I got to throw my characters off even more. It was great. So yeah. But that's been all the campaign stuff. And then it's just like keeping up with Ahsoka. Like it's not just Ahsoka, but it's like all of the community reactions and the theories and everything. You know, it's like that itself is a lot to deal with. So it's yeah. There's some really stupid things being said. My God, it's so
on the internet about Star Wars.
I know. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
No.
You know. Yeah. But that's been consistent throughout this show. So you know, it's like, no. This is an amazing episode so far. I love the series. It feels so cinematic and everything. Like the music is incredible.
Yes.
The crawl and everything. It's like, oh my gosh. I want Charlie to like start watching it. He's really busy, but just so I can hear his takes on the music and everything, because he gave a lot of insight when we were doing our project with the music. I want to hear how he hears the difference from the regular Star Wars shows versus this, because this one, I don't know what impression you guys got, but it felt so much more like a movie that's broken up, you know?
Oh yeah. I get that vibe.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically everything with me.
Oh, I'm curious, by the way, you said you're playing your campaign is in D&D. Are you playing like 5e or
sort of? Well, so I just said D&D because that's like the one.
Okay, so it's not okay. Well, what's this?
We're doing Saga Edition right now, so
I don't know what that is. But
that's it's based off of 4E, and it is the official. It was actually the official like Lucasfilm one for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, George Lucas was actually a really big fan of all the materials that they would come up with, and he'd pull from it a lot, like early on in the prequels and everything.
That's cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff. It's not being made anymore since I think Disney bought things.
Yeah, they've got a new system that's like Edge of the Empire and some other stuff. That's
they?
Yeah.
Is that in Star Wars 5e?
No, it's like a separate RPG system.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I need to look into that.
Yeah. It's got like its own kind of like special dice set. So, you know, they don't use like traditional polyhedral dice. It's like dice with symbols on it. And
really?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
I need to do research. Oh, thank you for telling me this. I mean, you've also thank you, but you've also cursed me with this task.
Yes.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Yeah. So is it like? So I don't know how to do any D&D stuff, but like, so is what you're talking about? Is it like D&D but Star Wars, and like also still like official canon stuff, or like what?
Yeah. So
what
like
is the thing you talk about?
I'm not super familiar with it because I haven't actually played it, but essentially it's the, as far as I know, the most recent like official Star Wars RPG system. And so like in D&D, for example, when you use different like polyhedral dice, like obviously the D20 is the main one used in Dungeons and Dragons. You roll a 20-sided die, and that kind of determines your success or failure at different things. Different systems, different role-playing game systems have different ways of determining your success or failure. And like some of them use dice pools instead of a D20, it'll be like you roll 3 D6s or something, and I think in this system, it's like, you roll a few different dice that all have these symbols on it. Like there's one that's like a success, one that's a failure, one that's like a critical success, and one that's a critical failure. And then you roll them, and then you basically add up all the different symbols that you've got together. And I don't know, it's a different way of doing things, basically.
Okay.
But my understanding is that it's less combat focused and more kind of narrative and role playing focused, which I like the idea of. Yeah. So
that could be a fun side podcast kind of thing. It's like if you and me and Cal and Charlie or something like got a bunch of people together, we just did that and just
that would be awesome.
Played it like D20 or Critical Role or something, but Star Wars. It could be fun.
Yeah, I really miss playing D&D. It's been a long time since I've been in a campaign, and I've thought about trying to DM one before, but it's just I feel like I'm such a perfectionist that I would want to go all in on it and be really super prepped, and I feel like I don't have the time or the bandwidth in my brain to do that when because I have other creative projects I want to do, and so I feel like if I got really into trying to plan a role-playing game campaign, then I would feel bad about not doing the other things that I feel are more important, But I would love to find a D&D campaign at some point again, because I love it. It's just been a long time.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I've played for a while now, mostly just with my friends from undergrad, just as basically a way to keep up with them. Because I was I don't particularly even actually enjoy the gameplay of just regular D&D. It's too slow for my, it's just a lot of downtime, and that's just really not ADHD friendly. But this is my first time running a campaign, and I like it a lot more. It's way more. I'm always involved with what's happening, so it's kind of nice, and I love having all of the power over my friends, but no, it's my ignorance in some ways is very helpful for not over planning, because I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, so I just plan out the big plot stuff and I just make it up on the spot.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah. I'd highly recommend it if you get the chance.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Well, Sam, what about you? What have you been up to?
Oh gosh, what have I been up to? I got a new computer. That's fun. So I'm on this new
exciting.
So it's fun. I downloaded Steam the other day, and I'm planning on getting the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 because it's on there. Because
not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know you're not.
Oh, I love that game.
It's the best Star Wars video game I think ever.
Easily.
But yeah, so I've been doing that. Obviously, been watching, keeping up with Ahsoka, and football season started, so I've been all about them. Sad the Chiefs lost, but really happy that the Cowboys are currently up 26-0, 33-0. Look at us go!
Damn.
Nice.
Yeah, we're doing great. So it feels good. But that's kind of all I've really been doing. We just rearranged our bedroom today. So a lot of cleaning and stuff. That might be why my Wi-Fi is not as good, because it's at the furthest end of the house from the router. That's probably what's going on. Gotcha. Yeah, so I might need to get a router extender. Look at that. So just boring grown-up things is what I've been up to.
Exciting grown-up things.
Oh, I did. Sarah and I went to Half Price Books yesterday, and I got a couple books I'm excited to read.
Oh, I love Half Price Books.
Yeah, so I got Light of the Jedi. The first one of those. I started it on audiobook and got bored, but I think it was my fourth audiobook in a row that I had done. So I was I think I was just kind of burnt out on audiobooks. So I got the mass market paperback version of it. So I'm excited to probably read that once I have time. And also Star Wars Aftermath, which I really want to read, which looks really cool. And I got a couple records. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have both of those, but I haven't gotten into those yet. I want to do the High Republic stuff, especially after getting teased with like Jedi Survivor stuff, but
Yeah.
unfortunately my game keeps crashing and the updates aren't working, so I haven't gotten too far in. But yeah,
what are you playing on?
I got a new desktop last May. It's like a micro desktop that I found. I think the problem is that my graphics card is integrated, and I like looked online, and it's like the bottom tier, so I can't fix it. And I'm not gonna buy a whole new computer to fix. I'm just hoping that they'll finally optimize the damn game. So.
I remember at launch that game in particular, like on PC in particular, didn't run very well.
Yeah.
I played on PS5, which was it was a little bit. There were some slowdowns and some, it wasn't. There was, but for the most part, it was totally playable on PS5. So, but yeah, my condolences about
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, it stinks.
Every time, like every month that there's an update, I just like very excitedly go and open it and install it. Go through the same like part of the level that I'm stuck on, and then usually just crash. Actually, my crash has been coming earlier, which is not good. Like the opposite direction here. But, yeah.
We're supposed to be going up, not down.
Yeah, like come on.
Yeah. Well, I similarly am not like super familiar with any of the High Republic era stuff, but it was cool because I played through all of Survivor, and there's a lot of really interesting High Republic era stuff in that game. It's pretty cool. So
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get into all that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah. That's good.
All right, I think it's time for us to talk about
time?
Ahsoka. Yeah,
it's Ahsoka time.
Yeah, so this most recent episode, what?
So for dear listeners, for those listening in, because this will be released probably by the end of the series. But we are currently 4 episodes into Ahsoka, so we've watched the first 4 episodes. At the end of the 4th episode was the biggest reveal of the series yet. We have Hayden Christensen live action Anakin Skywalker. Not a live action Darth Vader, live action Anakin Skywalker. And his first line was, "Hey Snips." So it's Hayden Christensen saying, "Hey Snips."
It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh my god.
It's so good. So let's just talk about Cal, I want to hear you already kind of hinted your reaction to the series. So I want to hear what are your, how are you feeling about the series?
Yeah.
What are you loving? What are you not liking? Like, what are you excited about? Where do you think it's going? Like, you're going to be proved wrong or correct whenever this releases, but yeah. Oh, did I freeze up a little bit? Or no? Okay.
I thought I froze up actually because Jack's camera also froze for me, so I don't know what was up.
I don't know, but anyway, tell me.
That probably means there's a nuclear attack somewhere, but it'll be fine. Yeah.
Or the Cowboys just scored again. Did they? No, not yet. Okay. All right. So Cal, tell me about what do you think about this episode so far?
Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, do it. Go
okay.
ahead.
I fucking love it. I am so hyped. It's so I love like every time. Like I'm so excited that they're doing it at like a definite time every week, like in the evening, where I can just like get really excited about it and just watch like immediately. Like none of this like bullshit about releasing it like 3 a.m. or something and waking up with it. No. I want it to be like an event, and it's been delivering. I'm like so excited about everything. Like as soon as the crawl on the first episode showed up, I was like
so
in
cool.
my seat.
Wasn't
my
it?
god!
We didn't talk about that actually, but I love that. I love the way they opened that with like it was like a red text on.
It was red. It wasn't slanted. It was just straight down, and it was like,
oh my gosh,
cool. This is cool.
I think it says a lot about.
Yeah,
I think it says a lot about how they are thinking about this project in relation to all of the other like Star Wars stuff. This is like a degree of importance that these other shows just aren't.
Because this is the first show that's had an opening crawl. I don't know if
this is the first one. Oh, it's only been movies.
Rogue One didn't have one. Han Solo had one either. So this is the first non-mainline movie or anything that has had an opening crawl. So that's like the scale that Dave Filoni's trying to like put this thing on. Which so far, I think it's big.
No, like I love everything about it. The only thing that I see the issue with is that like I think that a lot of our 2 main characters, Sabine and Ahsoka, they feel kind of dry at certain points.
I get that.
I understand like why, because I feel like there's a lot of like tension between them because of stuff that we haven't really seen. And also like I think my biggest defense of it is just that like we really haven't seen Ahsoka like extensively focused on her since Order 66 happened. We don't really know how her character has changed a whole lot in that time. We get glimpses of it in Rebels, and then we see like a little bit in like The Mandalorian, but we don't really know how she feels about things, how that really changed and affected her. So, and we got like glimpses of it with her refusal to train Grogu and everything. I think that's like starting to set it up. But like, we need more of an investigation into like how she feels now, because otherwise it just really feels like this is just a big tone, like kind of misstep almost from the animated to live action when we don't see the change actually happening.
It feels very different tonally. Yeah,
it does.
Like on the one hand, it feels like Rebels season 5, but on the other hand, it's so much less like kind of lighthearted, and there's a lot less kind of banter and personality to the characters, but it makes sense because of where they are in their lives, and like, you know, this is post-war, and this is like, you know, Ahsoka's been through a lot, obviously, and like you said, there's a lot that we don't know about. Kind of that's always a tricky thing whenever there's like a story that kind of picks up, you know, after a long period of time, where there's been a bunch of in between things where we're like, you know, things have changed. And it makes sense that things would have changed, but we don't necessarily know why or how. Yeah,
like Ahsoka's been at war for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that nuts? Like that, I mean, like, because I was watching.
I imagine that changes a person. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Because I was watching the episodes that we're gonna talk about later with Sarah. She doesn't even watch with me, but she's like, "Oh, this is like bubbly excited Ahsoka, like little baby Ahsoka." I was like, "Yeah." And she's like 40 something in like the Ahsoka show, but she's like 15 right now. So like it's a different. We're getting a different side of Ahsoka, just because I think she like grew up and became an adult and has been an adult for a long time in a war zone, either doing covert operations as Fulcrum or like being a Padawan during the Clone Wars and watching your like getting your entire like your Jedi, the Jedi Order, like rejecting her and then like saying, "Oh no, wait, my bad, like come on back." But she's like been like, that's a wound that she's experienced and she doesn't want to go back to that, like understandably. And so there's just like a lot of like, and then everyone died. So it like she's been through some crap, and she's been through the ringer, like emotionally and physically, and it makes sense why Rosario Dawson plays Ahsoka so like reserved. Like like she has Ahsoka's mannerisms down, but Ahsoka is not the bubbly character we see her in Clone Wars or even in Rebels. Like she is not the same character. Like something like how like you said, there something happened between A New Hope and now that we haven't seen, which is why Ahsoka is acting the way she is. So like that's a 6-year gap that we don't know what's going on, or 10-year gap. We don't know.
And if it wasn't for like that moment that she had with Sabine, like when they're in the ship and they're like trying to work together to like fight off those fighters, when that kind of like drops a little bit and they kind of return a little bit back to themselves, I would almost think that this is just like they just got her character wrong or something, you know. But that kind of displays it's a very intentional choice, you know. And I think that there's a lot of room for them to explore something with her that we didn't. The only really other option to like of a character to explore it with would be like Obi-Wan, where like the big, you know, okay, this is gonna get into my big spiel, but like the big like story to me of like Star Wars is ultimately the tragedy of it. It's the prequels, the fall of the institutions, the Republic, the Jedi Order, ultimately into tyranny and the dark side and everything. And that's actually one of the reasons why I love like Shattered, I think, as like my favorite episode, because that's the moment when everything just collapses, you know. And
that's the Order 66 episode, right?
Yes. And we only really get to see the ramifications of that in the two characters that really like were the closest to the one that falls, Anakin, you know, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Padme's dead. Like, we can't see how she responds to it and anything. And we saw it a little bit with Obi-Wan, but I think that they really didn't like take advantage of that full opportunity in his show. I think that they like, it was fine, but I don't think they ultimately explored all the things that they like. It wasn't the old man like crying in a desert for 6 episodes that I wanted, you know. Like, so I really am.
That wouldn't sell toys, though. That wouldn't sell toys.
No, it would not sell toys. I mean, I would buy one if they made a toy of him crying, you know. Yeah. It's like a water gun, you know. It's like you squeeze and then it comes out of
it's
the
like those baby dolls that actually cry.
Creepiest things ever.
Yeah, why would you want the toy to suffer? Like, that kind of defeats the point. But no, like we get the chance to really see, like, I want to see Ahsoka emotionally devastated from this, and that's why I'm really excited for the end of the most recent episode. Like, I want to see her come face to face with Anakin, you know. And we honestly, I think one of the reasons why we don't really see some of this is that the change, like, even though we see her in Rebels, it doesn't actually like set in and happen until she confronts Vader on Malachor, you know. Then it really, the final nail in the coffin is set, you know. It's like, that's when the fall really happens for her. And then we basically don't see her after that, because she just comes back in the World Between Worlds like a couple episodes before the finale, and then she's off. So I feel like that's really the change that we need to explore. And that's why I'm so excited about the World Between Worlds here, bringing Anakin back somehow. I want to know about how, but, you know, it's like there's just so much emotional depth and also like world building and lore to explore with that decision.
There's something you said about like kind of the fact that Ahsoka, like, we haven't really, what you were saying reminded me of the fact that like Ahsoka she never got a chance to say goodbye to Anakin, essentially. Like, you know, because he ran off during kind of, you know, before Order 66 and during the Siege of Mandalore and everything. And then Order 66 happens and he turns into Vader, and she doesn't see him again until on Malachor, when he's Vader, like full on Vader. And then I mean, we don't know if they see each other again at some point during the original trilogy. Like, I guess theoretically they could, but like my guess would be like no. And then you know, Vader dies, and like, so she's left with this, I assume, like this sort of this wound and this like kind of this lack of closure about, you know, she lost her master and didn't get to say goodbye to him, and then, you know, it's like I'm so excited that we're getting kind of a reunion between the two of them, and that, like, you know, post, you know, turning back to the light side, Anakin is going to get a chance to talk to his former apprentice again, and you know, I'm really excited to see where that goes, and is that seeing Hayden Christensen? Sorry, what?
Is that the Anakin we're going to see? Because I don't know. You know, because the World Between Worlds exists outside of time, right? Like, it's not.
I guess.
You know,
I mean, my assumption would be that like
it's not necessarily like.
That's true. I didn't think of that.
Force Ghost. It's not a Force Ghost. That's Anakin.
What do you mean it's not?
Well,
he's blue.
I don't know. Well, we don't know.
He looked very blue and glowy to me. I thought he was a Force Ghost.
Oh no, I didn't think he was blue and glowy.
Washed out too, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily like him in the flesh, you know. Like, I don't think he was glowy, so he doesn't like look like a Force Ghost, but like the Force Ghost rules like don't necessarily need to apply in the World Between Worlds, especially if it's like this special place in the Force in the universe, you know. It's like, it could be like one of the reasons why it can like go outside of time is because it's kind of closer to like the Force or whatever, you know. It's closer to the cosmic Force or something where you can like still interact with it and something like that, you know. It's like the rules don't necessarily apply in the same way. And I think it would be really canon breaking to bring him out of any moment from the prequels, you know?
Yeah, that's so it's true. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that the end of that episode brings up. Like, first of all, how did Ahsoka end up in the World Between Worlds? Did somebody pull her in, like how Ezra did? did Anakin pull her into the world between worlds to save her? You know, that's my question. And then like you said, what version of Anakin is this? Is this like a past Anakin, like the Clone Wars era Anakin, or is this you know, post Return of the Jedi Anakin, but like in some sort of like either as a Force ghost or some other sort of spiritual cosmic force form, you know? Or is it just like a vision, or, you know?
Yeah, some theories I've heard about it, like people are talking like this might tie into like the Mortis arc of like.
Oh, I hope so much.
Like
you know,
the brother, the sister, and the father, and like
Mm-hmm.
how like Anakin being the chosen one might like be like the new brother or the new father or something. Like, and because Ahsoka is kind of like the embodiment of the sister, right? She's like she is like she's Ashla, like the embodiment of the light side of the Force, right? That's like why Ahsoka is so important. So I wonder if Anakin is either the embodiment of the brother, like as the embodiment of the dark side, or the father as like the chosen one who like fell to the dark side and then returned.
Yeah,
you know,
balance,
like has brought balance and is both, you know. So I wonder if it's Force Ghost plus, you know, like there's more to it than just like Force, I don't know. You know,
I really hope
super Force Ghost.
I really hope he's representing like the father, because I want Starkiller to come in as the son, you know. Like,
oh my god,
I would be so hyped. But no, like I have my hope, you know. That would be interesting.
Ooh,
yeah, because
be interesting.
Like there is this kind of like interesting relationship between like Ahsoka and Maul in Rebels, you know. They're like kind of both play similar roles kind of with Ezra a little bit, and they're also the big kind of representations. That'd be really interesting actually.
They have a long history, those two also, like especially considering the Siege of Mandalore and how that all played out.
That would fit really well with that kind of, especially because like they're supposed to be in constant conflict, the son and daughter. So you know that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But I'm going to be really curious to see if we see Morai in the World Between Worlds, because that was what we saw when she was pulled in Rebels. You know, like Morai brought Ezra to the portal where Ahsoka was going to be. So I'm curious that if Morai played a similar role, maybe she brought Anakin to the same portal or something, you know.
Yeah, so many questions, so many. I
know.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to. My most hyped thing right now is, I mean, it's weird that in this next episode we will probably end up seeing Grand Admiral Thrawn in live action for the first time, and that's not the thing I'm most excited about. You know, it's like,
I don't know. I'm pretty excited about that too.
What the conversation is between Ahsoka and Anakin. I'm so excited to see where that goes. You know.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be the best episode of the season. Like that's like. Everyone, like Rosario Dawson said, like episode 5 is nuts. Like getting excited for it, and they're putting episode 5 in theaters. Like you can like,
it's a very select number of theaters.
Yeah. Like I'm in Kansas City, and the closest one to me is Dallas. Like that's like, I don't know where else. I think
it's like 15 theaters or something.
Chicago. It's like 10 cities, 15 theaters, something like that. Yeah, but it's a big deal. Like this episode, so I am. We'll be watching it in like 48 hours, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Wow, you're right. It is going to be that soon. Oh my gosh.
Or less than 48 hours. It is 9:40.
Yeah.
Less than 48 hours.
I need a countdown on my wrist just at all times, you know. It's like I would get nothing done.
Out of my head.
Yeah. Man, we haven't even talked about like the other galaxy thing. Like they actually went there now. Like they're on the way. You know, it's like, oh my gosh,
they're going into the other galaxy, the unknown regions, or wherever it is, and there was that. I mean, so many cool things to talk about in this episode. Real quick, I just kind of want to go through some of the things. First of all, we saw the Ghost in live action finally, like actually in action, which I love the Ghost. It's one of my favorite Star Wars ships, and just to finally get to see that was super cool. That whole sequence with the Ghost and all those X-wings, there was some really cool action there, and seeing those blow up, and like such a cool moment. And when like the hyperspace ring like speeds kind of through them, and like that was a super cool moment.
Wild. I was afraid that they were going to hold a maneuvered. I was so scared.
Oh yeah, they're just gonna get blown up.
I think that's why they made it hollow. You know?
It's like, oh, good.
And then like everything in the first of all, I love the planet that they're on with the woods. Like it's so beautiful. Like the kind of like the red leaves and things, and and we got a cool sequence of like the lightsaber, a rematch between Sabine and Shin Hati, and then we got Baylan Skoll versus Ahsoka. That was super cool. And then Sabine like gave the map away, and like there's drama, there's super cool action, there's amazing visuals, there's big revelations. Like, what an episode, man.
And the music.
Also, Marok was killed, so we think. So,
Yeah. Like, because it seems like it was just like a Night Sister magic something. Like, it wasn't...
Yeah,
he like shriveled away. That was weird, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was like a reanimated former Inquisitor. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I hope we end up learning more about him at some point. Like, who was this guy? What was this deal?
Did y'all see the thing where when Marok had like kind of one like grunt in episode 2, Sam Witwer was credited in the credits for it?
Did you see that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I thought it was like really legitimate to think he was Starkiller.
Yeah,
wow.
That was kind of like the most plausible thing I'd seen, was that it was like a secret Vader apprentice or something. So it's Starkiller.
Yeah.
So many cool things. So awesome. Also, the moment where that guy like dies is such a cool, like, it's very reminiscent of the Obi-Wan versus Maul in Rebels, the last fight between them, where it's just like one stroke and he's dead kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a cool moment.
Yeah. Oh man. So what do you think is waiting for them in the other galaxy?
I don't know. So probably some Virgo. Yeah, there's so many questions. Like, what have they been doing for the past 10 years or however long it's been? Have they just been like, has it been like a sitcom where Ezra and Thrawn are just like chilling out on a planet together because they're stranded together and they're like, I guess we gotta get along. or is there like a whole other civilization like of other planets and things, and they've like made lives for themselves there, or they're like in stasis somehow, or there's so many questions about like what has actually happened. Like, so much can happen in like 10 years or however long it's been. And yeah.
I bet they got really good at Sabak. That's like my one guess.
They're just they spend the whole time playing Sabak.
I feel like Thrawn is just naturally good at any game that. It's like you can't beat him.
I like to imagine Ezra just getting repeatedly super frustrated with like, gosh, I want to beat you once.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Thrawn's sitting there like kicking his ass and also like psychoanalyzing him the whole time.
He after this much time, he knows every detail of his psyche. Like, there's nothing outside of scope.
I wonder like what their relationship dynamic is gonna be, the two of them. Like, are they like enemies? Like, did Ezra just like go out of there and just try to keep an eye on Thrawn so he wouldn't like get back to the thing and just kind of watching from the distance, kind of like a kind of like a reversal of like the Obi-Wan on Tatooine watching Luke kind of thing, like was doing that, or like could it be a similar relationship dynamic that Thrawn had with Eli Vanto in the books? Like, and I want to know where Eli Vanto is. First of all, I want Eli. He's a great character.
Yeah,
I want him back.
I want all of Thrawn's companions back in. It's like
so. I hope that they like, because Dave Filoni does not like the books. We know that from Tales of the Jedi. He does not like the books. Because he nuked the Ahsoka book, which made me sad.
He has a lot of respect for Zahn, though. It's like
he does. I know.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he's gonna retcon Eli Vanto's like character into Ezra with Thrawn in the Unknown Regions. I don't know. That could be fun. Something they could. Who knows? I don't know.
Who knows?
He might like try to make Ezra another like kind of companion, like kind of Vance. I don't think he'd retcon him into it, but yeah. The question that like
similar,
I'm
it's
wondering
different character,
is,
similar dynamic.
Yeah. I think for sure. Like, I mean, have you read the Ascendancy books?
I have not. It's next on my list.
Okay. He has that, like, he always kind of picks someone to like be in that role, so he repeats it a lot, But yeah, I'm really wondering if there is going to be some kind of other threat in that galaxy, because I think that is the easiest way to kind of resolve the ambiguity of whatever the Ezra Thrawn dynamic is going to be, where if there's some pressing threat, that Ezra can't defeat alone. He knows that Thrawn can definitely defeat it. So they'll have to kind of be in some tentative alliance with each other.
Buddy cop.
Yeah. But also, I don't think it can be a big enough threat to our galaxy because like the whole trajectory of like what they're planning to do after Ahsoka with that last movie as the climax, it being called Heir to the Empire is making me think that like nothing is going to usurp Thrawn as the antagonist of this story. You know?
Sure. Yeah, they're building Thrawn up to be Thanos of Star Wars. That's what they're trying to build Thrawn into.
Yeah.
Which he's a good candidate for the Thrawn or the Thanos of Star Wars.
Thranos, yes.
Thranos.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Perfectly balanced.
Yeah. He's definitely like the biggest threat you can come up with that isn't just a Force user. You know, it's like,
I do love the fact that he's like that. Somehow, I love the fact that the current like new big bad of the Star Wars universe is not a Force sensitive person. It's not a Sith. It's just like somebody who's like super cunning and smart and devious, and you know, I think it's cool. Yeah. Anyway, very excited. Very, very excited to see what, like, I feel like this is the first time in a long time that we've had such a big question mark, of some part of the canon of like, we have this however long, this several year period where Ezra and Thrawn were somewhere else, like in a different galaxy, and we have no idea what that galaxy is like or what they're up to, or, you know, if Ezra's still alive and what their relationship is like and what happened. And like, there's just, it's rare to have a moment where it's like, I have no idea what we're going to get going forward. You know?
Oh man,
it feels
for
good.
Sure.
It feels good to have no idea what's going on.
It does. It's so exciting. But, you know, it's also really interesting because the thing that actually surprised me most about this last episode is the fact that they're actually going to the galaxy in this series, you know, because I feel like in a lesser show, they would make the whole conflict of the season trying to stop that from happening, and they'd leave that as the big cliffhanger ending, you know, and they'd pick it up in another thing. But like, I feel like Filoni's like really wanting to like give us a lot of stuff here, and having that mystery, and having that mystery is like feels like almost like the big thing of the show rather than any like one particular conflict. It's because it's weird, we don't really know what like the major antagonist or conflict is. It's just there's so much unknown. Everyone has ideas about what the problem is, but nothing is confirmed yet because there's this big unknown. There's a 12-year gap. We don't know what's going to happen, you know?
And also I like how it's just a bunch of like basically Thrawn's acolytes who just like, if we bring Thrawn back, all of our problems can be fixed. But like, there's Thrawn playing them because of course he is. He's gonna be playing them. So like, how what's gonna be the dynamic when Thrawn shows up? Is he gonna be like? Is he gonna reward them for like getting them, or is he like gonna double cross them and like just because he needs to, and they're just pawns that he has to sacrifice in this like overall game? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that Thrawn is definitely not going to share their like desire to bring the Empire back, because like the Empire, for at least in the books, if they're consistent with that, that was always just like a tool for him and Witches. Yeah. And if it's fallen, I think like he won't see a point in it anymore, you know. So I hope it'll be.
Because like, is he gonna like? I can't see Thrawn like wanting to bring about the First Order. You know, the First Order is kind of like weird. I feel like the First Order is like just as clownish as the New Republic is now. You know, like it's
they're
like,
kind of the LARPers now. You know, like the fascist LARPers.
They're Civil War reenactors of.
They really are.
The ones that are like way too enthusiastic about it. You know,
like bring back the glory days, that kind of thing. Like it's, but Thrawn is he's for real. So I don't know. I'm scared.
Excited but scared. Yeah.
But we could continue talking about Ahsoka for another 8 hours probably. But I think it's probably time to move on to our main segment.
Main segment? Oh man. This week we are talking about Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 17, and Episode 18, Blue Shadow Virus, and, oh gosh, where'd it go? Mystery of a Thousand Moons.
Indeed.
These are
So what does take place in the timeline?
21 BBY.
Cool.
Sweet.
Thus ends my part of this segment. Now you do everything.
I do, yeah. All right, so the moral of this episode of Blue Shadow Virus, first episode. Fear is a disease. Oh, it's its only cure. Thanks to
Whoa.
Battle droids on Naboo! As the Separatist rebellion rages through the galaxy, even peaceful planets are threatened. Following the discovery of Separatist droids wandering on the grassy wasteland, Naboo is once again on high alert. Fearing their home is facing another invasion, Senator Amidala and Representative Binks race to Naboo to assess the situation. Meanwhile, near the Gungan swamplands, an even greater threat is about to be discovered. Oh man, this is a good episode. Alright, so Padme and Jar Jar and 3PO arrive on Naboo and are greeted by Queen Niuti? I'm saying Niuti. First, I'm going, and Captain Typho. We love Captain Typho. The Queen demands that she petition the Senate or the Jedi High Council to assist them. Padme says that a scout team of droids is not enough proof, which is why they must analyze the tactical droid caught from the scouting party. After taking out the droid's eyes, they trick it into thinking it is with the Separatists and have it report. All the droid can tell is a top secret lab on Naboo is a top secret Naboo All the droid can tell is a top secret lab on Naboo before being crushed by Jar Jar's bumbling when the latter tries to catch a blue bug emerging from one of the battle droid's bodies. It is found the bug could only have come from the eastern swamps, in whose mud the tactical droid is covered. They contact Master Yoda and Master Mace Windu and ask them to send 2 Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Padme and Jar Jar then opt to personally search for the secret lab, while the others extract as much information from the other droids. This is a kind of a silly. It's a silly Star Wars opening, I think. It's kind of like the Jar Jar, like it's getting his tongue stuck in an R2D2 head, and then tripping over and falling and crushing it. But happening to know that like the one bug he was trying to eat the entire time was from this one spot on Naboo that could be from nowhere else, and it's exactly where the thing was. So
it's very in character for Jar Jar to like mess one thing up terribly, but also end up helping at the same time,
in somehow in a productive way. Yeah, what I took notes on my phone, just like stream of consciousness, and one of the very first ones is, "Oh God, this was a Jar Jar episode."
You never know what you're gonna get with the Jar Jar episode.
No, they're really hit and miss,
and it's not even an Ahmed Best Jar Jar episode. It's like the bad Jar Jar episode.
Yeah, this is D tier Jar Jar. Yeah,
it really is.
One thing I did want to mention is like I think it's really cool to get to see Naboo and all these familiar locations from episode 1 that we haven't seen in a while in animation. Like getting to see like the hangar like on Theed where like where they were in episode 1 with all the stay in that cockpit happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's where they land with the ship is right there. Which that's the ship that blows up at the beginning of episode 2, right?
It's a new one. It's a I'm pretty sure they didn't reassemble.
They make
one
them to order,
Yeah. Cool. Next. All right. So out on the plains, a female Gungan shack herder named Peppy Bow, love the names, notices that a few of her shacks, which is these giant like blob things, they're kind of like blurgs from
they're a little blurgy,
but they're blurgy, but like more spherical. And
they're like
kind of like eye drop
somehow more dumb
almost,
looking.
They're like anteater cows.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
but spheres, like with little pointy heads.
Yeah,
they're like shockingly tall.
They look like they could roll up into a ball and roll around like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
they do. They look like they're already doing that. All right, so Peppy Bow notices that a few of her shacks have collapsed dead, so she ushers her herd away, realizing that the river that they drank from is tainted. Soon after, Padme and Jar Jar arrive, but they are attacked by Peppy until Padme brings up her blaster. Peppy directs them to follow the river to find the source and offers to guide them, but Peppy declines, instead sending for an escort back to feed. As they traverse the swamp, they are being spied on by a camera. They then find a secret hatch, but there is no way to open it. Suddenly, they're surrounded by battle droids and captured, being placed in stun cuffs and taken to the lab. The man in charge, Dr. Nuvo Vindi, reveals that he has recreated the blue shadow virus, a deadly disease that was wiped out from the galaxy long ago. He had also perfected it, able to turn it from a liquid strain into an airborne strain, which could be used to eradicate the warmongers.
This guy,
Dr. Nuvo Vindi, is the most comical, definitely not a Nazi scientist, but definitely a Nazi scientist. In
Like,
Star
they made him
Wars
German and everything.
Yeah, he has a German accent.
mad scientist character. He's so ridiculous and silly, and I kind of love it.
Yeah,
I don't know why he's so pro the rights of a deadly virus too. He's constantly referring to it being murdered and everything. Dude, this is barely alive. Chill.
Mad scientist.
And then he walks around wearing this suit that looks like Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series. It's just this big old glass tank on his head with the shoulder pads, and he's just long and in blue, and
he just needs the round red goggles. He
does. Yeah, and a wife frozen in a big old anyway.
He needs a frozen wife.
He needs a frozen wife. Okay. Yeah. Upon arriving on Naboo, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan learn of Padme and Jar Jar's departure. Anakin sends Ahsoka with Peppy to find them, while the rest of them analyze the data from one of the lobotomized droids. Which, again, the fact that they lobotomized droids and all of the droids' thinking parts are in the head of the droid, and they just need a tiny little head of a battle droid. Dumb funny Star Wars. It's the best.
Yeah, I love. Okay, the fact that they literally say we gave them a robo lobotomy or something. They use the word lobotomy. It's okay. It's a little weird, a little concerning. For kids. Yeah, Star Wars. For kids.
They also did the thing that throws me off so much, where they threaten to shoot the droid. I'm why are you programming your droids with a will to live? Why is that a threat? You shouldn't. You're just a machine. What the heck?
Droids are just such a big mystery in Star Wars. It's so weird.
Also, why can't we just hack the droids?
Yeah. Why do we need to
aren't you just plug into the droid and just download the database decrypted?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Anyway, but we don't get to do robot lobotomies, so.
Yeah, we lose out on the sheer joy of lobotomizing something. I guess
this episode's title is going to be "The Joy of Lobotomy."
Yes. Oh my gosh, please.
Perfect. Oh man. So Vindi, back to comically Vindi. Great. So they find out that Vindi is planning on deploying virus bombs to key star systems. Typho directs them to Vindi's secret lab, which has 3 entrances. Anakin fears the risk of contamination, but Obi-Wan states that one planet is less than the entire galaxy. Ahsoka and Peppy search the swamp, inadvertently find a spy cam, and manage to hide from it. Ahsoka contacts Anakin and Obi-Wan, who instruct her to detonate a bomb on the south bunker while they enter through the hatches. Anakin then joins Rex and his men to start the mission. Obi-Wan reminds him that the safety of the galaxy is worth more than Padme's life, and she may already be dead. Ahsoka levitates a thermal detonator, perfectly dropping it on the hatch, and distracting many droids to her position. Rex and his team also arrive and assist her as they hack their way through droids before having to retreat with the entrance of droidicas. This allows the others to infiltrate the base unheard. But as Anakin enters Vindi's lab, he finds Vindi torturing his hostages with electricity, forcing him and his clones to surrender. As Vindi leaves Padme and Jar Jar to suffer, he runs off with his virus bomb. Anakin breaks free and saves them. Obi-Wan arrives with the bomb squad. Unfortunately, as Obi-Wan and the bomb squad find all the bombs, Vindi activates them. With Vindi and another droid, each carrying a detonator, they split up between the two. Obi-Wan tries to catch Vindi, but the villain throws away a number of virus files, forcing Obi-Wan to catch them while Vindi makes his escape. Meanwhile, Padme and Jar Jar track down the droid, managing to prevent it from escaping. With the bomb squad's help, They're able to deactivate all the bombs just as they capture Findy. The end of episode 1 of 2.
There's a couple things I want to talk about here.
Yes.
Yeah. Number one is, this is one of those, I feel like the Clone Wars has done this a few times so far, where like there'll be like the first episode of an arc and it'll end in a way that feels like, oh, it's over, we did it, there's no more problems, and then at the beginning of the next episode they continue it and a new problem shows up. It's like we thought that we had everything under control and the virus was we did it, we're done, the virus is no longer a threat, and then at the beginning of the next episode they're like, whoops, actually.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring up the same thing. It has big, like, contrived sequel vibes, It's it's like
Yes.
reasonable because
Yes.
it's not that far out, but it's like this.
Mhm.
Like, I was actually going to ask, like, if it was originally just going to be one episode, because that would make a lot of sense,
Yeah.
I
feel like I don't know if necessarily. I mean, it could be that's the case.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's just they wrote it that way so that it would be easier for like syndication. For when
That would
you're
make
like,
sense
if you're
too.
just showing the episodes individually, you want them to work kind of on their own if possible.
Yeah, you want a contained climax with the episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
Yeah.
it's funny
And
because some arcs like are definitely like it's cliffhanger next episode. That's how a lot of the arcs go. But this one is just like, no, it's like one episode and then, oh, by the way,
we're not done yet.
We forgot about that droid, Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say is there are multiple times in this episode when when like the mad scientist throws a vial of the virus and a Jedi like dives to catch it, and I'm like, you have the Force, you could just grab it from the air with the Force, why are you diving away for it? I get that would be
entertaining, Jack.
Yeah, it would be very anticlimactic, but it's also like logically speaking, you could just be like, and catch it. Like,
I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't do the thing where like a non-Force user like jumps to like try to grab it, and then like the Force user just like holds it there as like a little bit of a joke,
Yeah.
Because that feels like that would totally be like a kids show kind of thing to pull,
Mhm.
Like that'd just be a
like-
little way to get a little bit of entertainment out of it.
Yeah, like Rex or Cody jumping out for it, and
Yeah,
that would make sense. But no,
yeah,
we
a
watch Jedi
shocking
dive.
amount of restraint. Yeah, but also not,
Also, I think they just wanted to jump. I think they just wanted to fly a little bit.
Doing big jumps, it's fun.
They've been practicing. Yeah,
Those Jedi love their big jumps.
Yeah, there's a jump quota that each episode needs to hit, and they haven't hit it yet. So
Yeah. Everyone's like, I haven't reached my big jump quota for this mission. I gotta.
yeah. I wonder if instead of step counters they have jump counters.
I was just thinking the same thing.
They wear a little wristband that keeps track of all the Force jumps.
Yeah, well, that's definitely what like the clone armor like thing on Obi-Wan's like things are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only purpose it serves. This is just a Jedi
I was
watch.
wondering, what does the fact that like the evil doctor is like German and a Nazi mean for like the separatists? Are they supposed to be like Nazis too? Because I thought like the Empire was like also supposed to be Nazis in America, but it's like,
I mean, I feel like you could approximate that literally any villain in Star Wars is Nazis, because it's like that's kind of just the archetypal like 20th century
they're called
villain.
stormtroopers. Like that's straight out. Like that's what Hitler called his troops, stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like it was just a tropey thing. They decided, they were like, let's have fun with this and make just the goofiest, most cartoony mad scientist possible for this episode. And of course, the way you do that is making him German. Like,
give him an accent. Yeah.
Make him like a megalomaniacal, like, I love viruses and I hate people, and like,
yeah. I just think it has like potentially like difficult connotations where like the separatists are just like, if they're Nazis, but they're also like being totally manipulated and like orchestrating in this war, it's like, I don't know
Who's the
what
real
that
Nazis?
says. Well, no, it's just like I don't really want to entertain a whole lot of views about World War II that it was a conflict manufactured by like one party. You know, it's like that gets a little bit of dangerous territory.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more. Yeah, like don't read too much into it. This sort of situation of like, yeah, if you read too much into it and you take it too much as like a straight analogy, it falls apart pretty quickly. You know?
Yeah, I think they're just stylized villains that are palatable to American audiences. I think that's what it is.
Wow, this children's show just does not live up to my standards. I'm really disappointed. You know?
I'm sorry, this children's show does not live up to a PhD in philosophy student's.
MA, we're working on that.
Okay. Well, you said you're working on it. Yeah. I don't imagine that your standards are. I don't think your standards are going to drop when you PhD students.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
All right, should we move on to episode 18?
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
Cal, do you want to read the Admiral Yularen bit?
Oh boy, I can try. Yeah, sure. Where's the? I can.
Yeah, I'll grab it. It's.
Yeah, I got it. Mystery of a Thousand Moons. Okay.
Yeah.
So we read the moral first.
Yeah, so you get the moral up top, and then you scroll down to the little blue box. That's in like the different kind of font, and that's the
okay. Let me get in character for a moment. Let's see here.
And I'm penetrable offense.
Wait, so the moral isn't in the voice, right?
No, the moral is just it's just typed out on the screen.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you can use whatever voice you want for the moral. You can do a silly voice for the moral if you want.
Yeah, do the German scientist.
I think voice. I have to save all of that. The German scientist. Oh boy. I could only do the French accent. I'm not good at my German yet. So, but the moral is a single chance is a galaxy of hope.
Deep.
Okay. Here we go. Wait. Okay.
You got it.
Hard-pressed Jedi and their valiant clone troopers have thwarted an insidious separatist plot to plant bombs loaded with the deadly blue shadow virus in key Republic systems. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker have captured the vile scientist behind the nefarious scheme, Dr. Nuvo Vindi. Now the Jedi plan to transport Vindi to the separatist capital for trial.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you much, Lee.
Yeah. All right. Obi-Wan and Anakin prepare to transfer Dr. Nuvo Vindi to Theed for trial. Padme and the clones discover that one of the virus bombs is missing from the container that held the blue shadow virus, meaning that if the wrong hands have the possession of the virus, in this case Vindi, it can still be released, and they sound the alarm. Two clones search for Vindi's servant droid in the bomb room. The droid sneaks into the... I just want to stop. This droid is one of like the dumb little droids with rabbit ears. And it's the slowest, stupidest droid ever, and I love it. It's just like it just derps around the hallway, like hide behind things, but it's like it's round and fat, so like its tummy sticks out. It's got pointy ears, so those stick out too. It's silly. I love it.
It looks like a bowling pin with bunny ears.
It does look like a bowling pin with bunny ears and like stick legs.
Yeah.
So the droid sneaks into the room behind them and inserts the virus into a bomb. Before the clones can stop it, the droid sets off the bomb, and the virus starts to spread through the complex. Rex, Ahsoka, and the clones manage to make it into the safe room. Ahsoka briefs Anakin on the virus's release, and he informs Padme. She sets off with Jar Jar in their EVA suits to find Ahsoka and prevent any remaining droids from escaping the lab and releasing the virus onto the planet. Anakin tries to wrest the antidote out of Vindi, but Vindi taunts him, stating that his job was to manufacture the plague, not cure it. Obi-Wan manages to convince Anakin to lay down his lightsaber, and they depart for Theed. Ahsoka, Rex, and the clones discover that a small portion of the virus managed to get into the safe room before the door was closed, and they were thus contaminated. Padme and Jar Jar, summoned by Ahsoka, open the door of the safe room. She and Ahsoka take up the task of destroying the droids before they can ascend to the surface of Naboo. During the struggle in one of the corridors, Padme rips a hole in her envirosuit after tackling Jar Jar to save him from blaster fire. It is thus affected by the virus as well. Anakin and Obi-Wan and Vindi arrive on the hangar bay. They meet up with Typho. Vindi is escorted away, and Typho tells Anakin and Obi-Wan that they may have found an antidote. Riska root, only found on Iago in the world of 1,000 moons, which happens to be a separatist-controlled space. Typho mentions that it's suicide, but Anakin and Obi-Wan head off in the twilight anyway. Any thoughts before I keep reading?
It's all pretty
I love
straightforward.
the name Iego. It's like they
Iego,
really
yeah.
nailed it with that one.
It's
Awesome. And
Iego
Planet of
in the world of 1,000 moons.
beautiful.
It's great. I love it. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's like
It's nice.
they're really good with their names. You know,
This
it's
is
like,
one of my favorite episode titles. I think Mystery of 1,000 Moons. It's just a cool name. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a cool name.
Absolutely.
All right. There we go. So Anakin and Obi-Wan approach Iego, but not before passing through a massive ship graveyard in its orbit. As they land, they find strangely disfigured droids with mixed-up parts, all saying, "Welcome to Iego." A boy approaches them and introduces himself as Jabo before going over to lie in a hammock strung between the legs of 2 vulture droids. Does he say Jabo the Hutt is what he says his name is?
No, there's something else.
It's Jabo
It was his
something.
last name.
It sounded a little bit like Hutt, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was.
I thought it was Jabo. I thought they said Jabo the Hutt.
Jabo
and
Hood.
then
Hood.
Jabo Hood.
Hood.
Okay, I thought it was Jabo the Hutt. I thought it was like, Ezra, what are you doing here? But no, never mind. Because Ezra, anyway. So Jabo explains that when the Separatists left, they left a lot of their droids behind, and he simply reprogrammed them to serve him. When Obi-Wan and Anakin inquire about the Riska route, Jabo mentions that the system is haunted, and no one gets off the planet, since Droll, the phantom ruler of Iego, destroys anyone attempting to leave. According to Jabo, 50 of the best pilots in the galaxy tried, and none made it alive. Anakin and Obi-Wan descended the cliff, while Jabo shouts down not to touch the vines, because the plants don't like it, and have teeth. A Zandu appears, and the Jedi grab a hold of it. This Zandu is like basically like a pterodactyl bat monster.
This big old bat,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big old bat thingy. So a Zandu appears, and the 2 Jedi grab a hold of it. It takes Anakin and Obi-Wan down to the bottom, and Anakin begins to hack away at part of a root, while the Riska plant awakens. Anakin and Obi-Wan manage to fend off the Riska and ascend the cliff. And this Riska, this plant, it looks like if a Venus flytrap and like a Hydra had a baby. It's like a Hydra Venus flytrap plant. Yeah. It's super cool. There's some cool monster design in this episode. Mm-hmm. So Jabo leads them to Amit Noloth, who tells the Jedi that the ghost of Droll is preventing them from leaving the planet. When the Jedi don't believe him, he shows them a hologram of Taquito, great name, a friend of Jabo's.
His name is just Taquito. It's just an actual thing.
Yeah, his name is, yeah. Hilarious. I love it. So, Jabo's friend Taquito, being electrocuted before the ship exploded. Anakin and Obi-Wan attempt to leave Iego on the Twilight, but as they pass through the debris field, sensors activate an energy field that prevents them from getting very far from Iego, and they return. Obi-Wan theorizes that Separatists have installed the energy field to prevent the inhabitants from leaving the planet. As they land, Obi-Wan and Anakin receive a hologram from Ahsoka and Padme, both appearing parched and weak. Ahsoka weakly tells him that they have destroyed all the droids in the compound, that Naboo is safe from further contamination. Padme asks Obi-Wan to promise her that no one will ever open the bunker, and starts to say, "I love you," but the hologram is cut off. As they walk out onto the platform, Anakin starts to panic, having realized that Ahsoka and Padme are dying from the effects of the virus. He tries to rush to find a solution getting past the energy field, but Obi-Wan has an idea and manages to calm Anakin down. Obi-Wan manages to calm Anakin down, the theme of Clone Wars seasons 1 through 6.
And then definitely not season 7.
Not season 7.
Does not manage to calm Anakin down.
Does not.
I mean, I don't think he ever succeeds in that goal, but it's
he calms him down. He never completely brings him peace. He calms down for the moment.
Yeah.
So the Jedi call a meeting with the citizens of Iego. Obi-Wan tells him that Droll is not a ghost, but a separatist security system. He asks if anyone inhabited Iego's moon before the separatists arrived, and an angel, literally just an angel, enters the room. She tells, and she looks like an angel too. It's like kind of like a fairy,
white.
but it's like a pretty woman who's glowing with wings. It's like, oh,
yeah,
cool.
And that's just thrown in there and not addressed again.
No, I don't think they ever show again. She's just there.
All
right.
I'm looking at on the Wikipedia page. I think this is their only appearance. Wikipedia only talks about, at least in terms of canon,
this is one episode.
Yeah. They are mentioned in Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Are they not mentioned in the Phantom Menace too? In the Phantom Menace when
oh, you're right.
yeah.
So they're mentioned in
exploding. Yeah, I think that's why the only reason why she's there. So
when she says, "Oh, are you an angel?"
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's an actual species. That changes things. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it changes a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like they are only in all their appearances. It just says mentioned only in everything except for this one episode. So this is the only time we've ever actually seen one. So
that's great.
That's so cool.
Anyway, are you an angel?
Are you an angel?
What?
All right. So he asks if anyone inhabited the moon before the Separatists arrived, and an angel enters the room. She tells the Jedi that they were a peaceful people before the Separatists arrived and stole their home, the moon of Milius Prime. Anakin theorizes that the primary node of the energy field must be near Milius Prime. Obi-Wan notices the Vulture droids in another room. He asks Jabo to reactivate them so R2 can fly them via remote control. The Vultures are activated, and after Jabo transfers control of the droids to R2, they launch and follow the Twilight into the ship graveyard. The laser field activates, and R2 attempts to send the Vulture droids into the laser emitter, but they are destroyed. Obi-Wan fires the generator, and the energy field explodes. Anakin mentions to Jabo that he will need new Vulture droids, as they were all destroyed, but Obi-Wan tells them that they are free to leave Viego whenever they choose. The Twilight immediately jumps to hyperspace for Naboo. LAATs land at the lab, and stretchers bearing Padme, Ahsoka, and Rex and the rest of the clones are transmitted onto the gunships. Anakin and Obi-Wan find the others weak from their ordeal, but thanks to the antidote, they are expected to make a swift recovery. Glad about the outcome, all commend each other for their achievements. The end. Yay!
Okay, so I have one that I'm sending in the chat. Don't you think that Jabo looks like an elf? Wait, the other picture's not showing up. Wait. I got a picture of an elf.
Just download it on my phone.
Oh,
hey,
here, wait.
The Cowboys are up 40-0 if anyone's curious.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah.
He does look a little cartoon elfish, yeah.
Yeah. It's like that's the first thing I thought. It's like part of it is the ears. I think that they're not like elf pointy, but they're like
big. They're prominent.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks like he wants to be a dentist.
Yes,
he does look like he wants to be a dentist. That's true.
Yeah,
Jabo.
Love it.
Yeah, but I thought this episode was really interesting because I feel like we see in a microcosm everything that basically the big failing of Obi-Wan as like a mentor for Anakin, which is that like when Anakin is like really like kind of pushing the dark side, like almost killing or threatening to kill the scientist and everything, like constantly just like trying to rush into these things. Like Obi-Wan doesn't really provide a whole lot of resistance. He never like tries, like he never chastises him or anything.
He's just sort of like, Anakin, hold on.
Yeah. But like the most you really see, the biggest resistance he gives is like telling him to like slow down, take a step back, and like think about it differently. But like all of his like strategies for dealing with it are like appealing to him on the grounds that he's worried about, which is like that this isn't going to help like Padme and Ahsoka or something, you know. It's like it's appealing to him on the basis of his attachments rather than like being critical of the fact that his attachments are leading him there in the first place, you know.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah,
I think that gets into just like the fact that Anakin doesn't need Obi-Wan is a brother to Anakin. Like, father figure. Anakin needs a father figure, and Obi-Wan is not that father figure. Like, it should have been Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon would have been a great father figure to Anakin, but it's Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's just a brother to him. So that's where a lot of Anakin's like lack of emotional development that leads him to becoming Darth Vader comes from.
It's just it's a limited relationship
too. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the other
I said his poor flirting skills too.
Apparently they were good enough though. Like,
I mean, like he somehow got Natalie Portman, so I don't know. Maybe
dang impressive.
Yeah.
I know.
Are you an angel?
Like, talk about failing up. Like,
and that was it.
God. Yeah, man. I have a lot to learn, apparently. Like, I don't really know what, but you know, it's
what? Yeah. I liked the fact that in this episode, like, you know, when Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of go off on this side adventure to go find the route to cure the virus, they end up like inadvertently like
liberate a prison planet.
Yeah, they like liberate a planet just incidentally while doing their thing. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, you all can leave now. And they like have this big, like, it's like fireworks in the sky, and they're like, oh, yes, we're free. And they're like, yeah, bye. We were here to get this route, and we're leaving. And
this was just Tuesday for us.
yeah. They just did it because it was in their way. Like they didn't even try to. Yeah.
It's like, well, bye, I guess.
Like literally, like if they could have gotten off the planet without doing that, they would have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If it would have been quicker, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to point out that I thought was cool was just like the whole laser field thing. That was just a really cool visual, and also it very clearly, like, the defense system that it comes from. It looks like the dish from the Death Star. You know, it's very reminiscent of that.
Very much.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of elements of like separatist technology where we see kind of like echoes of what will eventually become the Death Star, like this, and like the Malevolence, the like, you know, the big old EMP weapon that they have. Like, there's a lot of instances of like big old weapons that like are kind of alluding to what would eventually become. There's like similar design kind of cues.
Yeah. It'd be funny if it was kind of like just their proclivity for making super weapons leads to them just kind of like at the same time evolving like a lot of these very similar looking things, like how crabs like just keep on evolving into like crab shapes, you know. It's like it's the same thing, just when you do super weapons it's just gonna like converge to that point, you know. Yeah.
Everything becomes crabs, everything becomes Death Star. Yeah.
I mean, that's how we got Starkiller Base. It was just like Death Star but more.
Maybe that's really like the final goal. I
love the moment in The Force Awakens when they're like, so like it's another Death Star. We've blown up the Death Star before, and they're like, no, it's not like a Death Star. It's bigger.
I can't believe the movie would just come out and say that. You know,
they were just like they're calling themselves out. They're telling on themselves. Yeah.
Is that really the only difference? Like you could use this time however you wish to highlight the other ones, you know? But no. Yeah. But I thought it was interesting how like my only like I guess problem with this episode is like they kind of like alluded to the fact that like, oh yeah, this bunker should like never be opened for any reason. It's like because it could poison the whole planet, and then they just totally skip over them opening up to get them out to cure them. Like that feels like they just like as soon as they leave Aigo, they just cut to them already out of there being cured. And it's like, that would have been kind of an interesting problem to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
But
there's only so much you can do in 22 minutes.
That's where our sponsor, that's where today's sponsor comes in. You know, the Naboo Health Department. They already have the internet.
True, yeah. I guess they set up a decontamination site pretty quick. Yeah. Damn. They really deserve the attention. Yeah.
They did. All right. Who's our MVP this week? What do you think?
I feel like I have two answers to this. One is kind of a joke answer, which is Jabo. I feel like just because he's a fun little character that I don't think we ever see again. But he's fun, and he does like contribute significantly to like their success because he like hacks those vulture droids, and that's what eventually allows them to, you know, escape and everything. So, you know, Jabo does, you know, deserves some recognition for that. But I think ultimately it's got to be Ahsoka, because you know, Ahsoka, like, she's the person who, like, throughout like the first episode and this episode, we see her, you know, being like brave and selfless, and, you know, really putting herself on the line and being like, no, don't worry about me. It's important that we, you know, we protect the planet, we protect the galaxy, and if I die, so be it, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, and there's also like, I think like Padme specifically calls out like, your Padawan did a great job, by the way, you know, to Anakin.
Yeah.
That's my take. What are you guys?
I'm gonna cast my vote for the droid that released the virus and
the little bunny droids.
Yeah. Just because, like, okay, so I don't really have like, you know, like a great reason, but like I just like the idea of like mechanical midgets just kind of going around causing chaos. And like we got a good episode out of it. And if it was not for that droid, Ahsoka wouldn't have had the chance to shine. So I'm gonna go with the mechanical little elf that goes around releasing deadly viruses.
I like that.
Is there it's got to be like a certain model at least. I'm trying
It's
to find.
There's definitely a model listed somewhere.
It's called Rabbit Droid.
Is it actually?
Yeah, that's what it said in the. I read that in the thing.
Oh, did? Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. When I search up Rabbit Droid, it redirects me to LEP Servant Droid. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Wow. They have a redirect for that.
Well.
Oh yeah, it's nicknamed Assistant Droids and Rabbit Droids. Damn.
Yep.
Okay, so for MVP, are we deciding to go with the little rabbit droid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the little chaos gremlin.
Sure, yeah. According to Wikipedia, it says the name of this particular droid is LEP86C8. So
okay.
LEP86C8 MVP of this episode.
Love it.
I love it. Love the little bowling pin bunny rabbit stick leg.
That tried to kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
Do we talk about favorite part of the episode?
Yeah. Sam, do you have a favorite part of the episode?
Do I? I mean, obviously, little rabbit droid just being silly and dumb. I think my favorite part was the German doctor guy. Just how stupid it was. Like German Mr. Freeze making a blue virus. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love him. What about you, Cal? Do you have a favorite thing or moment from this episode?
I have to agree with Sam. It's like it was just a delight to hear this like mad German dude go off. It's like I have to wonder like how did he get funding? It's like he's like absolutely insane. Like I don't know how the separatists like in the middle of this war are like, yeah, let's get like a deadly virus back from the grave and put it on every planet. It's like and like this is like, why would you put a secret lab that's like top secret on like an enemy planet? Like I get like that it's kind of like in case the virus gets loose, you don't want to poison one of your own planets, but there are plenty of uninhabited moons.
Well, I think the idea is that like this is like this planet is where the source of the virus is from, like the plants that they got.
That's what they keep having greenhouses, I think. That's right. Like they had like random grow labs. Those plants. They didn't like really mention it. There's probably like a plot point that like they got cut for time, but like
it looks like the back of a weed dispenser.
It does.
Okay. That would make some sense. Blue weed. But yeah, it does just feel a little weird to put something that valuable like right in the middle of
under enemy noses.
Yeah. It's like So, but no, I love the German guy. It's just absolutely insane. There's just everything about him is just kind of crazy.
Our other choice for MVP.
Yeah. We're choosing the antagonists today.
We have to make the episode better.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, just to be contrarian, I will say something else for my favorite bit. I really liked the final sequence on Iago when they're like, they have the vulture droids reprogrammed by our little Christmas elf boy, and there's a cool like bunch of explosions and a fight thing in space, and then from the planet's surface we get to see like all of them blowing up, and it's like a fireworks show, and it's a really cool visual. I actually like that moment. I'll point that out.
No, that was a good one too. Yeah.
Main character kills. I don't think we had any main characters that killed anybody. I don't think anybody died really.
They implied maybe one clone died because they put like a sheet over one of the clones in the safe room. But that was the only.
Missed that.
That's it.
Are we counting the anteater cows? I feel like those are pretty
lobotomized droids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not people. They don't count. They don't matter. That's the one thing Star Wars is very consistent about. Droids don't matter.
Yeah. No lost limbs and no Wilhelm screams, as far as I'm aware.
Would have been a great time for one for Wilhelm scream.
more Star Wars is better Star Wars. How does this episode make the movies and the rest of Star Wars better?
Saw an angel.
Sam.
We saw an angel.
Yeah. Are you
It really closed that
angel?
plot loop. Yeah.
Yeah. We saw an angel, and then I think the continuation of seeing like Anakin's sort of impulsiveness and the way that his attachments to both his Padawan and to Padme, causes him to make rash decisions and be violent, and just kind of a continuation of that. But also, we also got to see Ahsoka being like responsible and brave and kind of like
really stepping up,
wise beyond her years a little bit.
Yeah.
We get to see that she's maturing a little bit.
Yeah. And also from like a world building kind of arc, I just love that they just kind of took this kind of random thing that they just kind of made and then just kind of like gave it a kind of history in the world, that this is a long lost kind of virus that we were able to rid the galaxy of a long time ago, but now they're bringing it back. It makes it feel a lot more connected and enmeshed in the broader galaxy. Gives it I like specifically like that, like especially like kind of in Legends, because they don't really talk about it much, but like the years, like a couple hundred years leading up to like the prequel trilogy, where it's like this kind of republic, like kind of more forming into what we see it as, getting more of the context for that kind of stuff, I think it really adds a lot to overall the Star Wars narrative.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, cool. Thus ends our main segment, I think. Sam, do we have a viewer mailbag segment?
We do. Boy, do we. I posted a thing to my Instagram, and I got more responses than I expected. So here we go. We got a bunch.
Let's rapid fire through
these.
Got
a bunch of them from Jason.
I think
so.
Cal's got to get on with his life because it's later there.
Yeah, it's almost
here, so
yeah.
we'll rapid fire.
We got one from Jack. What is a Star War?
That was me. Yes.
Yeah.
What is a Star War? Tell me.
It's when the stars fight each other. All right, moving on to the next one.
Cool.
From our cousin David, we got two from him. Number one, dream Star Wars fight. Like if you could like have two characters from any point in Star Wars fight each other. David says that his is Mace Windu in his prime versus Darth Vader in his prime.
Ooh,
that'd be a good fight.
That'd
be a great fight.
My first thought was I would love to see Maul versus Grievous.
Ooh. I was thinking similarly. I was thinking Maul versus Vader, because they have very different fighting styles, but they're also like really good.
Yeah, that'd be super cool to see that. Definitely.
I think I would want to see Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka like at the end of the Clone War fighting all of the Inquisitors at once. That could be fun.
Ooh, that would be epic. That'd be rad. My God.
Yeah.
Man, I want to see it. Yeah, we don't get a lot of like multi-Jedi fights, like big fights.
Yeah.
Like, usually it's like 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 or 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Or then one time we'll get like, in Attack of the Clones we get a bunch of Jedi all attacking droids. But that's not a lightsaber battle so much as
we got a 3v3 in Rebels in the Malachor one.
That might be the biggest lightsaber.
It was Ezra, Ahsoka, Kanan, or no, it was Kanan, Ahsoka and Ezra. Maul versus the equivalent versus the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
But also Ezra was there too, though, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he was fighting in that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yes. So we had that 3v3.
Yep. Cool. And also, David has proposed that we take a Brant family trip to Star Wars Land in 2024. Meaning, I would assume Galaxy's Edge.
That would be awesome.
Love that. Let me know how we're going to be able to afford it. David, if you want to pay for it.
Yeah, I think. I think David's volunteering to pay for it. That's what I'm thinking. Cool. Thanks, David.
I mean,
thanks,
that
David.
makes sense. So, yeah. We'll bill him.
Right.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Josh.
Cal, you got a lot of money. You're philosophy studenting pays well, right?
Grad student in the humanities, a wealth of money. Yeah. Just drown in it. Yeah.
And then
you see my futon. Come
it's
on,
nice.
Mike.
It's a nice futon.
Living like a king.
Okay, moving on. My buddy Josh asked, regardless of meanings, if you could have a lightsaber, what color would you want?
We actually kind of already talked about that in our live episode.
We did, but we didn't with Cal.
But Cal, you didn't answer this.
Yeah, so if you get out a lightsaber, what would it be?
Cal, what would what color?
I'm so torn because like my favorite color is blue, so I'm tempted towards that, but also like blue lightsabers are kind of the original, and I like something a little off, you know.
A little more unique.
Yeah. Actually, I know. Black. I want the dark saber. That'd be
That's
awesome.
good.
Rad.
You know?
Sure,
yeah.
Just give me the dark saber. Yeah.
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 And as long as it comes with like the Mandalore thing, like, you know, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then guess how many questions I got from Jason? Jason sent a bunch.
4?
Let's see. We got 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. And then he asked more, but I said I cut him off. So we got 5. Read him quick. Okay. First question: who would you want to train you if you were a Padawan? What Jedi would you want to train you? And he said other than Obi-Wan. But I'm not going to say other than Obi-Wan.
Oh, damn.
I'm not saying other than Obi-Wan. You can have Obi-Wan.
I like Luminara Unduli. Maybe she's just on my mind because she was in a recent episode we watched, but like she seems cool and wise and like I don't know. She seems cool. And I like her. I like her style. I like her like black hood and stuff. It's cool. So yeah, Luminara, I'll take her.
I'm gonna say Qui-Gon because I like how he's like counterculture Jedi.
He's hippie Jedi.
Yeah. I like.
I also would say Qui-Gon for the same reason.
He's philosophy major Jedi.
He really is.
Yeah. Philosophy major Jedi. You're so right. Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Brad.
What Star Wars ship would you most want to fly?
I really like the idea of having I think the ones that come to mind for me are the ones from The Mandalorian because the Naboo Starfighter, the modded, like the hot rod Naboo Starfighter is so cool.
It's the coolest ship in Star Wars.
But also the like the Razor Crest, because I think for me my kind of dream idea of a ship is a ship that you can live on that's like big enough to be like your apartment basically. So like the Naboo Starfighter wouldn't work for that, obviously, but I think the Ghost, honestly, I like the Ghost. I think it's a cool looking ship, and it's got a bonus ship attached to it that you can take with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go with the Ghost.
Yeah, I was going to say the Ghost and Millennium Falcon, just for the reasons you said.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about. When me and Charlie played Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, I always liked the Naboo Starfighters. That would probably be one, and then also there's an obscure one from Legends. I'm gonna send a picture. It's called a Clawcraft. It just looks really cool. So
that's rad. It's like a TIE fighter, but like it's a non-Euclidean TIE fighter.
It's exactly that. It's just so cool looking. You know,
it's kind of like the
I can't resist.
They're kind of like the TIE Defenders, whatever that Thrawn developed. Right, the 3-pronged TIE fighters.
Yeah, it is a lot like that, actually.
But 4.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but 4. Yeah, because it's better. Yeah.
You know what's better than 3? 4. That's what it is.
You know what's cooler than $1 million? 4 wings.
Okay. Next question. All right, so I don't know, Jack. You can veto this one if you want. I'll let you veto this. But so most of the Star Wars movies are PG-13. In PG-13 movies, you can drop an F-bomb one place. Where in Star Wars would you drop an F-bomb?
I feel like Revenge of the Sith is the only one that was PG-13, at least.
Yeah.
At least in the original saga.
The sequel PG-13.
Are they PG-13?
And also,
at least from the original saga, like that was the first. Because I remember that was the first one that was
cheated now. Wow.
Yeah. But let's just.
How about you know what I would put it in Revenge of the Sith. I would say, you were my fucking brother, Anakin. I loved you.
That's a good one.
I think mine would be same scene, but it would be Anakin goes like, "I have brought peace, justice, and liberty to my new empire," and Obi-Wan says, "Oh, for fuck's sake, your new empire."
Excellent. Yeah, honestly. I thought you were just gonna say like peace and justice to my fucking empire. Like, you know, it's like, oh, all right, Anakin, potty mouth. All of a sudden, man. I guess the Sith are just they're potty mouths.
They are.
Man. What about you, Cal?
I think episode 2,
Yes.
when Anakin is committing genocide, or sorry, confessing committing genocide. I think I'd want him to say not just the men, but the fucking women and children too.
That's great.
Oh no.
High quality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions?
Or we could have during the like before the arena fight in Attack the Clones, when Anakin and Padme are confessing to each other, Padme could be like, I truly deeply fucking love you. I feel like
if just to take it to the sequels a little bit, in episode 9,
oh my god, I know what you're gonna say.
Fuck, somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say,
yeah,
they can fucking fly now. I thought that was what you were gonna say.
That's a good one too. Ooh.
That's great.
I think it's gonna be the first episode we're gonna have to mark as explicit.
I think so.
We've reached our PG-13 limit.
We have
in that one, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cal, you're a bad influence.
I'm so happy that you've said that. You know, I try whenever I can.
I'm gonna put on the album. I'm gonna put the parental advisory explicit content thing that you get on CDs and stuff.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Excellent.
Okay, and then last question. This is where I cut them off. If you could change one thing about the sequel, if you could change one thing about the sequels, just one thing, other than not having them, what would you do?
You already cut off our sassy answer.
Could I say changing the story? Does that count?
The story.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, yeah, I'll change the story. Yeah.
I would say
I'd make it better.
I mean, yes, that's the logical answer. Yes, like that's the right answer. I would say, I think just one thing that bothered me. Like, there are plenty of things that bothered me about the sequel trilogy, but I think for episode 9, I think giving Rose Tico more of a role, because they really short shrifted her in the last movie. I feel like she was I thought she was a good character that just didn't get enough time to develop, you know. I thought it'd be cool if they included her more. Yeah.
Actually, my real answer is probably cutting out the Canto Bite stuff in 8. It feels really weird that they're in this like slow speed chase and then they can suddenly just leave. Like, no, you should be stuck here. Like, why are they not being killed? When it makes no sense.
It was just a weird sequence, a weird kind of like I like the idea of a casino planet, but like it just didn't. It wasn't super engaging or interesting. It was just kind of it felt out of place.
Yeah, it felt out of place, and it was just, it didn't make sense with the story. And it also, because like them being able to leave cheapens the fact that they're like in this dilemma in the first place, you know? Like they should be having to work with whatever like kind of scraps they can, you know, instead of being able to go find someone who can just hopefully solve all their problems, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I got 2. One is kind of like, along the lines of Cal, change the story. Have George Lucas direct it, or like let it be the George Lucas trilogy that he originally put. That would be like my
but have his ex-wife edit.
I don't know that I would say George Lucas direct it.
I mean, like
he
let it have a more creative direction role, right? Like have him be a writer on, you know, so that.
No, but I would agree with that.
If have somebody else punch up the dialogue for him, but
but if not that, make Finn a Jedi, please.
Yeah,
honestly,
he was so wasted. It was really shameful.
Yeah. There was so much they could have done with Finn, as like he could have like become like a stormtrooper Jedi and like led a stormtrooper uprising or something.
Yeah.
Like there could have been so many cool things with him. But,
yeah.
Yeah, but that's our viewer mailbag. Those are great questions, Jason, and everybody else. So,
thanks, Jason and David and me and whoever
Josh.
else.
My buddy Josh from the Pines.
Josh, yes. Sam's buddy Josh from the Pines. All right, well, that was our viewer mailbag. If you would like to join the discussion, you can leave a voicemail at 512-850-6653, and we might feature your comments, questions, or corrections on the podcast. And also sometimes Sam might post a thing on Instagram where he asks questions. Well, he asks for questions.
Indeed.
But yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Cal. This was great to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a blast. I loved it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we definitely would love to have you back again, and we can also
I'd love to be back.
We can continue to get more and more Brant cousins on here. We've had 2 Brant cousins so far as guests, and we've also had David on voicemail, and yeah. I feel like we have to eventually make our way through all 30 plus Brant cousins.
Well, you have enough content to get through that.
Yeah,
so.
True.
Yeah,
unlimited content, unlimited cousins.
We really do have unlimited cousins.
Yeah. I'm sure Charlie would love to come on at some point too. So
yeah.
Cool.
I know David said he wants to come on as well. So
absolutely, yeah. David, if you're listening, we'd love to have you here.
This is the place to be, you know. Yeah.
I know David is a very loyal listener, so thank you, David, for being a loyal listener.
Yes. Thank you, David. You're cool and great.
Big fans of David over here. All right.
That's the other premise. We're going to start another podcast that's a David fan podcast.
I'd listen to it.
Just reviewing all of the posts that he has on Instagram, you know, it's like getting really excited. Yeah. It's getting really deep in interpreting them. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, join us next time on the next episode where we will be talking about the last arc of season 1 of the Clone Wars.
Wow.
Which is Storm over Ryloth, Innocence of Ryloth, and Liberty on Ryloth. So spend a lot of time on Ryloth.
That's a great arc. I'm so excited about that one.
It is a great arc. Yeah, I'm super excited to get to see Chomps and Dula.
Yeah.
Yep. So very exciting. We're almost done with season 1 of the Clone Wars.
I think it's one of the first great arcs, you know.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Definitely. Very excited for that. And we're almost done with this is episode 21 of the podcast, and we're almost done with the Clone Wars season 1. We're making our way through this, Sam. It's exciting.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
Pretty soon we'll have less than unlimited content because we'll have gone through so much of it.
Can't say that.
It will be limited.
Can't just do that.
Blasphemy. All right. Well, thank you again, Cal, for joining us, and thank you, listeners, for listening and hanging out with us with your ears. Yeah. May the Force be with you all. Have a good night. Get some rest. Go to therapy. Get vaccinated. Drink water. Watch Star Wars.
All those are good.
All good things.
Yeah.
And such.
Bye.
Yep.
Yeah. I endorse them all personally.
Cal endorses all of those things. All right. Bye, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger.